Pardon me if what I'm about to say sounds rude. Our generation, for the most part, is cowardly. You heard that right? Cowardly. I know it sounds harsh, but it is true, even for me. Most of us are scared of a common enemy. You may ask who or what that enemy is. Many students like me may be thinking it is final exam results or seeing your teacher after seeing those very results. No, it is none of them. It is something far, far simpler. It is boredom. As stated by Blaise Pascal, a renowned philosopher and physicist, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. A quote that is relevant even 4 centuries later. This is because the moment we sense boredom, we rush to fix it. We reach for our phones, a sound, a distraction, anything as long as we do not have to sit in boredom. We like to blame our phones, but our phones are not the real problem. Our phones are just the easiest escape from boredom. As the average smartphone user checks their phone 70 to 80 times a day. The real problem is, half of those times, they have no clear intention at all. If you ask them why they open their phone, they don't have a reason for you. They opened their phone because the silence was uncomfortable. This is because we have convinced ourselves that boredom is unproductive. So we choose from the millions of things we can do, from scrolling endlessly to watching a movie or trying something new, like giving a TED talk about boredom. This was not the case when we were kids. Boredom was normal, and we created memories that last with us till date. I remember one such instance. It was a cold Friday evening in the middle of December, and the year was perhaps 2016 or 17, and school had just closed for winter break. In the middle of winter, I was supposed to go out and play with my friends, but it began raining in the middle of winter because that's Bangalore weather for you. So I did what I could. I wrapped a blanket over myself and sat by the window as the rain began to pour down. The rain droplets slid down the glass as the world around me began to slow down. I imagined the wildest things, from fighting evil with Shaktiman and Chota Bheem, to dreaming of becoming the next Virat Kohli, all of that, and even inventing a flying bicycle that would take me to Europe. And before you judge my artistic skills, this was a drawing I made when I was 6. The point is that when we were kids, we all shared similar memories. We were not bored, so even when we were bored, we would make fun memories out of it. Here is the real concern. I want you all to try and recollect the last time you experienced anything remotely close to this. I know most of you are struggling to do so, and there is an underlying reason for that. Today, we have access to every form of entertainment, yet we lack that excitement because we are overstimulated and our dopamine receptors, like our generation likes to call them, are cooked. This is because dopamine is a feel-good chemical like sugar. A little once a while, it tastes amazing. But too much all the time, even a person with a sweet tooth will find sugar disgusting. As kids, dopamine was like that exotic ice cream we got once in a while after relentless convincing. Now, it has turned into that dal chawal that we beg our parents not to prepare every day. To prove my point, I want you to try something for yourself. When you go back home today, I want you to shut down your phone and not use it for any sort of entertainment. No YouTube, no Insta, no movies, no shows. Then just open it just for 15 minutes. I can assure you those 15 minutes will be far more stimulating. So not only does boredom help us feel exciting moments more rewarding, but it also activates a state called the default mode network. A state linked with imagination, creativity, and generation of new ideas. It also prompts for emotional processing and self-discovery and growth, as you ask yourself uncomfortable questions that you generally avoid through distractions. Now, you may be asking, how do I address this overstimulation and bring boredom into my life? Well, before that, I want to give a gist of what boredom is. Boredom is a state when your brain lacks stimulation, challenge, or interest. It is when you're not doing anything, or you're doing something and your brain is not focused on it. If I had to give an example that I think most of us would relate to, imagine a 8 a.m. Monday morning maths class. That is peak boredom for me. Apologies to any maths professors in the audience, though. Now, getting to the part of incorporating this boredom, I firstly want to show of hands from those of you who have a routine in your life. Great. The first step is going to be easy for you guys, as I like to use a simple framework for it called CRAB. It stands for choosing a regular activity and make it boring. So you choose a simple activity you do on a regular basis, such as driving to work or working out. And instead of filling it with videos or music, you're only accompanied by your thoughts. That is how simple it is. And now for the thoughts you should dive deep into. They can be anything along the lines of creative, introspective, imaginative. You can ask yourself meaningful questions such as, who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Or what is my higher purpose? You can even think of any new business ideas or innovations. And if you are inspired by me, a flying bicycle rental company. The goal is to pair the natural flow of thoughts with some guidance. Now, have a look at this image and tell me what you would call it. Most of you would say it's meditation. Some of you would say it's mindfulness. Well, you would be right, it goes by several names. But I like to think of it as a form of deliberate boredom. A deliberate pause you take in your life where you let your thoughts settle in. You can start with as few minutes, as little time as you want, and build up to 15 or 20 minutes. Now, if you're still wondering why go through all of this hassle, this boredom seems boring, well, this should concern you. You guys, all of you, I'm sure, watch several videos, reels, songs, all of them. I want you to try and recall the last 5 videos you consumed. Finding it hard to do so? Well, the problem is not that we are forgetting this content that we consume. It is that when all the moments are filled, we even forget precious memories, such as outings or time spent with family. Research published in the National Library of Medicine shows that when memories are processed without pauses, they lead to poorer memory consolidation and poorer recall later in life. So years from now, when your children run up to you and ask you, what were your most memorable experiences as a teenager, you don't want your mind to go blank or forget the details they deserve. Now, another concern is that people often overdo boredom, and that should not be the case, as boredom can be associated with anxiety and depressive symptoms if done in a chronic manner for a prolonged period of time. That is when boredom turns into daydreaming. To help you better understand what state your brain should be during this phase of deliberate boredom, have a look at this graph. This is when pleasure and boredom is balanced. The other end is when you have high level of stress and you feel anxious or overwhelmed. When you have very little boredom, you feel disengaged and disinterested. You should find the right balance where creativity naturally peaks. Another concern is that many people slip from reflection into overthinking about the past, or planning about the future. One should avoid falling into such rabbit holes, as that can be unproductive. So I like to pair it with simple habits such as journaling, so you can turn vague ideas and reflections into clearer goals and actions. So I want to emphasize the fact that boredom is not always laziness, nor emptiness. Neither a waste of time, nor unproductive. Neither isolation, nor loneliness. Instead, it turns into space for your brain when done right. So imagine this. You are the narrator of your own life, and all 8 billion humans are listening to you. Do you want to narrate a story that fades into buzz and noise, or one that is rich enough to remember every single chapter in it? Thank you.